Coming up on this edition of Celtics Weekly, we preview the matchup of the season as the Lakers come to town. Get to know Boston's new wing, Torrey Craig, and the C's sign a two-way player with New England ties. All that and more now.
Welcome into Celtics Weekly, where we catch you up with everything the world champs Celtics. Meghan Ottolini here with Drew Carter of NBC Sports Boston. What a show we have for you. We've got new Celtics. We've got legendary Celtics getting older. Keep an eye on this cake. If you're familiar with the narrative concept of Chekhov's gun, just keep an eye on this cake during the show. How you doing, Drew?
Well, if it's your first time watching, welcome. And now you know everything you need to know about Meghan, because you get a Chekhov's gun reference within 15 seconds of the start. Nerd alert.
Oh,
nerd, maybe even a bigger nerd than Taylor Snow.
Well-educated Taylor Snow will also be in the show, but we got to keep moving, because where else do we start this week but our hot topic, which is the LA Lakers coming to town. 8:30 p.m. Saturday night. The Lakers are 11-2 since trading for Luka Doncic. They are now the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. LeBron James just won Western Conference Player of the Month at 40. And most surprising to me, Drew, is that this team has the second best defensive rating in the entire NBA, and that's after getting Luka.
Yeah, and getting rid of Anthony Davis, right?
Right.
Make it make sense. When you trade Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic, how does your defense get better? I mean, there are some theories out there. Maybe Anthony Davis was freelancing a little bit. Now they have more structure, and JJ Redick can, get in his coaching bag with his defensive schemes. You mentioned they're 11-2 since they made the trade. Luka missed the first 4 of those games. So I don't know if they were rejuvenated or if LeBron feels more empowered now that he's got a running mate or didn't have it for those first 4 games. But those guys are playing so well together. Luka wasn't even shooting the ball very well when he first got there. He's still shooting about 40% from the field as a Laker, but you see him starting to get more comfortable as the games go by. They're up to second place in the Western Conference after looked like they were going to be a play-in team for the first few months of the season. So as much as we hate to show love to the Lakers on a Celtics show, they've been playing some really good basketball.
I'm curious from you, because the Celtics obviously know Luka pretty well from the finals last year. How do the Celtics match up with this specific version of the Lakers now with Luka in there?
Well, I think it's the perfect team to try to defend the Lakers, especially Luka. We saw what happened in the finals last year. Now, Luka, I think, was gassed after carrying them to the finals, but you have A, a bunch of guys to throw at him when he has the ball, and B, a bunch of guys to throw at him when he's trying to defend. And that's really when you can wear him down. So if the Celtics have, Jaylen Brown defending him and then Jaylen going at him on the other end, obviously Jayson Tatum doing the same thing, and then maybe, D. White and Drew Holiday get a crack at him on the other side. Hopefully, Drew will be healthy. Maybe we don't know, but I think he's obviously a problem. And when you pair LeBron and Luka, you've got two like basketball savants, 2 of the highest IQs in the NBA, and they're obviously vibing really well. The schedule may be a little bit lighter for them since they got Luka, so maybe it's a little bit smoke and mirrors, but there's no doubt they're playing super well. So it'll be a fun game.
Absolutely. Saturday night at the Garden. Can't beat it. Celtics went 2-1 over the last week. Let's get into our plays of the week. This is where we give you all the highlights from the week that was. Let's start at number 10. Jayson Tatum here. Well, he almost got his pocket picked with a spin move, but he finds Luke Cornett down low.
Love the Tatum-Luke connection. Those guys on that pick and roll have been really dialed in. It's like they're telepathic almost.
Number 9, I love this from Drew Holiday, the awareness and the fake. Nope, down low to Tatum for a slam.
That's Celtics basketball right there. Everybody can stretch it. You gotta respect everyone's ability to shoot from 3, and then you can get guys cutting to the basket.
Number 8, you have a Cornet steal to start. Gotta love that. And it ends here with a Jaylen Brown sweet spin move to an and one.
It was a thing of beauty. Jaylen was so locked in at the start of this game. We know what the Jays did against Cleveland, 83 combined points. And when he's locked in and not taking no for an answer from the defense, it's impossible to stop him.
Number 7, again the Cavs. Jayson Tatum crossing up Mobley and finishes strong. Look at this little flex.
Yeah, have some. He puts his shoulder right into the chest of a 6'11 guy. Mobley, who might be Defensive Player of the Year this season, by the way, and Tatum just goes right through him. That was the muscle he added last season that he's carried into this season.
Number 6. Okay, I love this for our guy Nini going down low. Big dunk. Look how strong this is. Shakes the whole hoop.
I love Nimi so much. It's like, watching him get the ball on that fast break, you knew something beautiful was about to happen. There was a buzz that started to rise in the crowd, and that's the first time I've ever seen him do anything like that.
Number 5, this is all Tatum. Big block, then goes coast to coast down to the other end and finishes over 2 bigs. Just showcasing a lot of his strength on both ends of the court.
This is nasty, Meg. I mean, he's doing a little bit everything, and this is really, you cross up Ty Jerome, right at DeAndre Hunter is a great defender, and then Jared Allen is there too. It just doesn't matter.
Number 4, awesome game from Al Horford against the Nuggets. Vintage Al gets the steal, gets down, gets it back, and finishes pretty there.
He's still got that gear, even at 38 years young. And he definitely gets up to play the best guys in the NBA. I think about Giannis. Jokic is no exception.
Number 3 against the Pistons. Look what Jayson Tatum did there. He turned Cade Cunningham into one of those inflatables outside of the used car lot.
Speaking of cars, Meg, I mean, they're in the Motor City. He blew a tire on the motorcade, who is one of the best players in the NBA. He's been amazing this season. But JT, he'll make you look silly.
Number 2, another great moment from Al with the deflection, and it becomes just a complete team effort down low. JB finds Al again. Looks like these guys have been playing together for years.
Yeah, and Jalen said Al's got to dunk that one. He spoon-fed it to him. Maybe just lob it up for Al, but look at Horford running the floor again. Seriously, he looks like a guy in the prime of his career.
Number 1, okay, are you familiar with the magician Chris Angel?
Oh, of course.
This is what he got from Derrick White. He was levitating when he got this from Drew Holiday in the corner, feet off the ground.
Yeah, I could see Derrick White doing a show where he's like walking on water, risking his life in a variety of ways. This is insane. I mean, Hauser's got to be jealous of that release time.
Awesome. Those are your top plays of the week. Let's go over to TaylorMade Stats. Time now for TaylorMade Stats with Taylor Snow of Celtics.com. He's got all the numbers for us. You've been crunching them, Taylor. So why don't we get right to it?
All right, I wanted to start off with what I thought was probably the most absurd stat of the week. Came during the Pistons game, which wasn't the best offensive game for the Celtics, but they did hit 11 threes in the second quarter, which is the second most all-time in a quarter. And the crazy part was, so 11 threes, 33 points. They scored 35 points in the quarter, so 94.3% of their points came from 3 during that quarter, which is the highest rate of all time in a single quarter. No other team has even exceeded 90% in a quarter. And threw in the shot chart here, kind of reminded me of half of a three-point contest round. Everything was going in. That's where Derrick White, you saw him in the top plays, hit that hot potato 3 from the corner. Like I said, wasn't the best game offensive-wise, but this just showed how hot they can get at any given time.
Because I remember, I think it was in late November when Porzingis came back against the Clippers. I'm pretty sure the Celtics hit 11 or 12 threes in that quarter when Brad Stevens was actually on the broadcast. So, Brad, we need you back.
Yep, they hold a share of the record, 12 threes.
Yeah.
It's a little imbalanced. Reminds me a little bit of my SAT score, verbal versus everything. But, that's why I'm not an accountant. What else do we have?
Speaking of Derrick White threes, he hit his 203 of the season on Sunday. Jayson Tatum also recently hit his 203, so they become the second pair of teammates in Celtics history to make 200 threes in a season, joining Paul Pierce, Antoine Walker, which doing that in 2002 is pretty crazy, because that's kind of like the equivalent of hitting 300 threes
with
in a
inflation,
season now.
Of course.
Yeah. Love the ankle bands down there.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously everyone knows Paul's right leg was sweatier than his left, so he has the ankle band on the right ankle, but not the left. And Antoine Walker pops up a lot in these like first time since or record for the Celtics. I feel like people forget the numbers he was putting up,
And one more thing, Peyton Pritchard, he's only 7 threes away from 200, so they're about to have 3 guys with at least 200. And keep in mind, the Celtics record for threes in a season is 245 by Isaiah Thomas. All 3 of these guys are on pace for 260 plus.
Taylor, why didn't you choose a photo of Jayson and Derrick with the headbands?
Yeah, what's
how about a headband night?
Let's see if maybe there's a headband photo coming up.
Okay.
Spoiler.
Hey now, there it is.
Jayson Tatum, as we all know, turned 27 on Monday. A lot of great stats floating around there about where he ranks all time before turning 27. This one might have been my favorite. Highest plus minus in NBA history by a player before turning 27. I know not everybody loves the plus minus stat. We love it here. What it shows is the Celtics are successful whenever he is on the court, and you see the other names up there. I mean, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, that was at the height of when the Spurs were dominating back in the late 90s, early 2000s. A whole bunch of legends on here. Jayson Tatum is becoming one too.
And I understand plus minus isn't a perfect stat. You need a lot of context around it, but when it comes to a player like Jayson Tatum and the other ones in this company, I think it's safe to say it's communicating what it's supposed to communicate.
All he does is win. I mean, when he came into the league, he was playing a different role. The team was good, and now we've seen him ascend to being Player A for the Celtics.
Yep, Player A. Another new nickname.
Yeah, we just keep putting those nicknames up on basketballreference.com. Thank you so much, Taylor Snow. Don't go anywhere, because on the other side, we have a sit down with one of the newest Celtics, and we'll meet yet another one who has New England ties. We're courtside with one of the newest faces in the Boston Celtics locker room. That's Torrey Craig. Torrey, thanks for joining us. And I just got to start with the question of when you got the call that the Boston Celtics wanted you to come play with them, what went through your mind? What was the feeling?
Excitement. Just blessed for the opportunity to be here on a championship winning team. Obviously, they won it last year, so just blessed and happy to be a part of something special. I know that these guys are serious about winning over here, and I'm a competitor and I like winning as well. So,
outside of from having to move in the middle of winter to Boston, what's the transition been like here?
It's been pretty smooth. I found a place out here. I moved in a couple of days ago. It's always a task moving from a different city in the middle of the season because you're still trying to play games and trying to learn everything with your new team. So the moving part is kind of secondhand to it. So, but I've been settling in pretty well, and like I said, now I found my place. So now I'm kind of feeling more comfortable.
How have you settled into the experience of being a Celtic at TD Garden?
One word I would say is just iconic. I just think the organization and the franchise itself is iconic from the history of the team and the championships. And so just to put on a Celtics jersey, it's an iconic feel to it. The crowd is, I don't think it's one word to describe the crowd. The fans are amazing. I think they're the best fans in the league.
Joe Mazzulla got a big spotlight on him last year, winning the championship with the Celtics. What's it been like developing a relationship with him as your coach?
It's been pretty cool. It's not just him as a coach, it's him as a person. And knowing him off the court and his family and knows how much he just care about people. And he's really a good dude. All these guys are. They really are good guys, and I think that's what makes this group so special.
So something that I know gets on my nerves sometimes, as somebody who loves the NBA, is when people say that defense is just all about effort.
Yeah. As
somebody who has such an elite level of defense, what would you tell people goes into playing at that level?
I mean, effort is definitely an important factor when playing defense, but I also think it's about IQ, knowing guys' tendencies, knowing their personnel, and just knowing the concept of the team and how you want to defend as a team and knowing the game plan going in different games. Like, I think all that plays a part in being a good defender or a good defensive team. You
have previously played with Drew Holiday. Speaking of defenders, what is it like to play alongside him? What does he bring to a defensive unit?
I think Drew's one of the best defensive wings in the league. I said that when I was with him at Milwaukee, just seeing his effort and how much attention to details he pays to, like, when he's guarding guys, like just cutting off a right hand or a left hand or anticipating moves. Like, he's just, like I say, he has the IQ and awareness to be a great defender.
So, as I mentioned before, you had to move here in February. What's been surprising to you about the experience in Boston outside of basketball so far?
My first day here, I hit a pothole in my car and bust my tire.
No!
I did. It was kind of my welcome to Boston moment.
Okay, I'm going to test you for a second.
Okay.
how much you've learned about Boston so far. Can you define or describe what any of these words mean?
Okay, I'll try.
Clicker?
The remote?
Yep.
Okay.
Blinker?
That's on the car?
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're doing great. This one's challenging. Bubbler.
A bubbler?
A bubbler.
Bubbler.
It's a water fountain.
A bubbler?
Yeah, like in elementary school, you wait in line to go to the bubbler,
Oh,
get yourself
wow.
a drink.
Okay, that would have been the last thing I get.
That's the toughest one. You got the first two. 2 out of 3 is awesome. I know that you spent some time in Australia and New Zealand. Did you ever attempt an Australian accent?
Yeah, I have. It's like 3 Australian guys that work on the team, and I teach them. I'll say, oi, or good day, mate, or they have a saying in Australia, it's like, day frit. They call it like, it's a good day for it, but they was like, day frit.
It's very, very good. How do you unwind from basketball? What's the thing that, like, if you need to totally mellow out, that you're gonna do?
I like to watch movies. I'm a big movie guy, a big TV show guy. So kind of when I get some downtime, that's what I like to do.
Do you have any nicknames that maybe Basketball Reference hasn't picked up yet?
For me,
Yeah.
people just call me TC or T Craig or T.
Final question. You're still pretty new here, but if the Celtics are lucky enough to get back to the finals and win the championship, who's the first teammate or staff member who you're giving a hug?
Probably the first one I see.
That's a very
know.
diplomatic answer.
Yeah, I would say probably Drew Holiday.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Torrey.
you.
Let's catch up with another addition to the Celtics in small bites. That's two-way player Miles Norris.
How'd you find out about it?
I was actually on a connecting flight coming back from a Santa Cruz G League game. So my agent called me real quick. He said, go home, pack up, be ready to go in the morning. So I packed as much as I could. I'm here now. So it's good to be here.
How exciting is that?
I'm excited. I love the city of Boston. I've been here a couple of times. I'm gonna get used to the cold weather though. I'm a California guy, so I gotta get used to the cold. But I love it out here so far. I love the people. The coaching staff, the whole organization.
Miles, what was it like teaming with Tatum the year you guys won the Pac-12 championship? So we're good.
Oh, it was great. Payne's a great guy. It's good to see him again. Good to be back playing with him again after college. So it's small world. I think it's like a full circle moment for me and Payne as well. So I'm excited to be here.
So Miles Norris, new two-way player that the Celtics just added for some depth. He says he's a California guy. He's got to get used to the cold weather, but he does have some familiarity with the cold around here because he went to Brewster Academy in New Hampshire.
That's right. Yeah, one of the best high school programs in the entire country. I also love that he's talking about Peyton Pritchard, his former Oregon teammate. People talk about the Villanova Knicks all the time. Well, step aside. It's time for the Oregon Celtics, baby. Still wearing green from college to the NBA. If you look up Miles Norris' height, the internet will potentially lie to you because some places say that he's 6'7", some places say that he's 6'10".
What is that discrepancy?
I don't know, but we got to get it sorted out. I know his wingspan is over 7 feet, and I think he fits the Celtics system really well as a guy who can hit threes and defend at a high level. He's shooting about 38.5% from 3 in the G League this year. And Miles, say goodbye to those connecting flights, baby, because you're in the NBA now. It's a two-way deal, so probably still spending a lot of time with the main Celtics, but no mas, connecting flights.
Well, hopefully we get to see a lot of him in April as some of these guys start, tampering down a little bit, the taper period before you get into the playoffs. But the Celtics, we did preview the Lakers game at the very top of the show. They're hosting 3 other teams this week. Let's get into future focus. And that starts, of course, with the Portland Trail Blazers. We're going to be welcoming home a lot of old friends to TD Garden this week, including Robert Williams III, a.k.a. Time Lord.
Yes.
Hopefully we get to see him against the Blazers Wednesday night.
These Blazers are playing pretty well, Meg. I mean, at the start of the year, they were one of those teams we thought might be in the mix for #1 pick, but ever since then, they're kind of in the hunt for a play-in spot in the Western Conference. Shaedon Sharpe, anytime you're watching him, you could see something you've never seen before. He's got one of the highest verts in the NBA, and obviously it'll be good to see Rob Williams. And make sure you're watching the game on NBC Sports Boston. Mike Tirico's calling it.
Lovely. The West is so wild. Let's talk about the 76ers and be done for the season. Celtics looking for their 3rd straight win over Philly Thursday night.
Yeah, this one, I mean, it's a great rivalry always, but, a little deflated by how the Sixers have struggled this season. I think they obviously had high hopes going in, bringing in Paul George. Seemed like they'd have a great big three, but that has not really panned out. But now that they've got the whole Embiid cloud kind of gone, they know what they're doing with him this season, which is that he's not playing. Maybe they'll have a little extra juice, let Tyrese Maxey cook a little bit more, and Yabu. I mean, speaking of former Celtics, let Yabu cook.
Love it. I love watching him. And the Celtics wrap up the week Monday hosting the Jazz, so more friendly faces coming to town. Will Hardy and Jaden Springer, who was dealt around the trade deadline.
He's back. The dude can really guard. I hope he gets some minutes against his former team. I also hope the Jazz are wearing those beautiful purple unis. I mean, those things are clean. They've got some great uniforms, and of course, Danny Ainge running the show, so maybe he'll get those guys fired up to play the Celtics.
So as we noted at the top of the show, we got the cake. It's for Jayson Tatum and Jordan Walsh. They both have birthdays this week, and so we can give a little taste.
Yeah, I've been waiting all show for this. I'm giving up sweets for Lent, so this is kind of my last hurrah. I cannot wait for this cake. What?
There's no in
Right
there.
there? I don't think I don't see it.
That's Celtics Weekly. You got a little something there. We'll catch you next Wednesday.